There we go. So at the moment, I've just got everybody on mute until we get all settled in here. And I'm just getting everybody in from the chat box. The chat box, I'm ahead of myself. From the waiting room. There we go. Amazing. So while everybody joins, we've got about 22 on the call so far, which is amazing. This next hour, it can be whatever you want. If you can leave your camera on, brilliant. If you don't want to put your camera on, brilliant. That's absolutely fine as well. I will try my best to get to talk to most people properly. Again, if you can, brilliant. If you can't, that is absolutely okay. And we're going to use the chat box a lot as well, just to communicate in that. So don't panic if you're in work or a situation like that. I will put you on the spot. Oh, Angela, you're doing your cardio. I like it. Amazing. I love the multitaskers. So if you haven't met me through any of the other programs, I'm Laura. So I am the head trainer at the Sculpted Vegan and taking the first of these onboarding calls. You'll also have Lee and you'll also have Vanessa. Forgive me, off the top of my head, I can't remember their calls, but I'm going to look at them now. I know Vanessa's is on Sunday. Let me look at my Google Calendar. Lee's, where? Ah, okay, so we're right now. Lee's is tomorrow, which is 11 o'clock UK time, which I think is 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then Vanessa is on Sunday, which is 5 o'clock UK time, which is me. I'm Belfast, the same as Kim, which is 12 o'clock Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific. I always say specific for Pacific. So if you can make them, I would really encourage you to do them as well. The beauty of these calls, we'll all kind of say the same thing, but we'll maybe say it in a different way. Sometimes it takes a couple of times for things to get into my head, like information. I need to kind of say it to me a couple of times. And, you know, maybe I'll explain something one way, Lee will explain it a different way, Vanessa will explain it a third way, and you'll be like, ah, okay, that will make sense. So, so if you can, and if not, they'll be on catch up. Really good attendance here. We've got nearly 27. Amazing. So what we're going to do today. So the point of our onboarding calls, when you come to any of our programs, we over provide. We give so much information. You know, that is just the ethos of our company. We just give. You know, we want to give you information and teach you what you're doing and why you're doing it. We're not just giving you like a little tidbit, so you have to keep coming back for more. We are helping you understand that information, but it's so that you learn and you really, really understand it. Now, that is great, but sometimes when someone's got like a PDF this thick, or they're like, oh my goodness, all these videos to go through and all these sections of this program, they can get a bit overwhelmed. It's okay. So if you ever feel overwhelmed starting the Sculpt and Shred, it's very normal. It's absolutely okay. So what I want to help you feel like today, and you might by the end of the call, you might not, and that's all right. I just want you to feel a little bit more settled of what we're doing here, where do we want to go, how are we going to get there, and just any questions that you maybe haven't got answered yet. The Facebook groups are amazing. They are very busy at the moment, and Facebook throws spanners in the works and rearranges conversations and hides chats and everything from us as coaches. We're trying the best to keep on top of them for everybody. So I just want you to feel like a wee bit more like, okay, after this call. So let's use the chat box first, and this call will be recorded as well. So at the bottom of my Zoom, there's like a chat box. So what I want you to do first of all, so I know some of you might be doing butt camp, and we'll briefly talk about that at the end. If you are, that's absolutely fine. But I want to keep this very focused on sculpt and shred. So even if you plan on doing butt camp, then starting sculpt and shred, that's okay. Let's just pretend like you're starting sculpt and shred now. So you're sort of getting like the information of it. So even if you're not going to start it today or next week, because you're maybe going to do butt camp, we'll just pretend. We'll just pretend with it. So I want you to use the chat box, guys, and tell me first if you are going to use phase 1. So phase 1, the very first of the phases, there's 6 phases. The first 5 phases are 10 weeks each. So just to tick that off in your head so you know that. And in phase 6 can be anything from 12 weeks up to 6 months, just depending on your goals. But again, that's here. Let's start here. Let's break this into little chunks. So again, it's not feeling really vast and gaping. We're gonna break the program down. So I want you to think about phase 1. And what are you going to do for phase 1? So I want you to tell me in the chat box, are you going to build in it? Are you going to shred? Or do you not know? I'm going to help you with that. So type it in the chat box for me, please, just so I can get a little gist of everybody. So if you're going to build, you're going to shred, or you have absolutely no idea. While you type that, let me sort of clarify, and this might help some people who aren't sure. So Kim created the sculpt and shred. We were talking about this last night, and Kim created the sculpt and shred about 5 years ago now, and that was the same time that I met Kim, because her first trainer was my ex-husband. So my ex-husband was Kim's personal trainer when she went from skinny yoga teacher to bodybuilder, and she did her first show, and that's when we met each other. So she was the one good thing I got from that marriage. We're joking. There was other good things, but she was a good thing. So I remember Kim, mum of 4, homeschooled the kids. She would be like, kids dropped off to tennis, in, train with Curtis, into Starbucks for like an hour, typing away, creating sculpt to shred, go pick the kids up, take them to swimming. She'd work then in like that Jim's cafe on the sculpt and shred, and she'd be here, but she'd be here. She was getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning to create it when the kids went to bed. Like, it was just absolutely crazy. She is just an absolute machine. But that is when she created the sculpt and shred, and it really was her journey from very minimal muscle, and she looks amazing. Nobody's saying, and she's not saying ever that her before pictures aren't good, but they just weren't what she wanted, because everybody you have a certain way that you want to look at and what you want. So I always think this program is such a testament, because sometimes when you're online, you just don't know if that fitness influencer, that fitness model, like, did their program give them that butt? Or did that program really do that? You just don't know, because people can have really good genetics and then create these programs, and then you buy them and they don't actually do what they say, because that program is not what created that person's body. Whereas at the sculpt and shred, this program is what created Kim's body, because she was writing this program as she went along. Literally, the journey that she did is this program on paper. As her body changed, she was like, that's brilliant, I'll write that down. Oh, that program's working, let me write that down and put it into a program. So the proof is there when you really, really see those changes in her body. So when it was first created, Kim, it actually was a 12-month program, and it was very much just that 12 months, because when Kim came to Curtis, she was like, I'm going to do a show in 3 months. And he was like, no, you're not. You have no muscle, you have no clue, you're not going to do that. So he had to make her do 12 months of building muscle before she could shred. Also along that time, and I can say these things because Kim has talked about this on podcasts and videos before, her first competition prep, she just did what she wanted. She thought she knew better than Curtis. She thought she knew, she was a nutritionist, she was a yoga instructor, she knew everything. And I really remember clearly one day Curtis saying, I don't think Kim's doing anything that I'm saying, because as a trainer, you've got a plan, you know the science, you sort of know, or you kind of know what the outcome's going to be. And it wasn't that. And then I remember really clearly coming home one day and going, yeah, she's just admitted to me, she's just been doing this and that. And she just thought she knew best. So even Kim has been there for not following the program and not reading the PDF. So with that, the original program is very much based on Kim, but we're not Kim. Kim is Kim. So you have thousands of people from around the world come in to join this program. So, you know, we'll have people at this body fat and this body fat and this body fat, and they've trained for years, they've never trained before. They've got this end goal, this end goal. Everybody's different. So with that in mind, Kim had to make a bit of a marker. So within this program, we'll use a marker of body fat of around sort of 23 to 25%, which is a great place to start building from. Or it's a great place to try and shred to, and then to start building from. Now, it's not like it's like the holy grail of body fat. You might not want to ever be that body fat. You might not get to be that body fat. That is okay. It's just like a marker, so we have something to kind of work from to kind of guide people. So the wording in phase one, and this is kind of people, especially if they're around that marker, they can be a little bit sure of what way to be. So if you feel that you are above 25% body fat, again, there's nothing wrong with it. It is not a bad thing. These numbers, these body fat percentages, if we ever weigh ourselves to get data for our TDEE to help work out our calories, if we ever take progress pictures, which we will every 2 weeks, if you ever take measurements because you like that kind of thing, it's not to judge them. So it's not to do them and then critique them and look at them and pick holes in them. They're all just data. It's all just information. So again, these body fat amounts, it doesn't matter what it is, it's just data, okay? So if you're above 25%, we use that as kind of a marker, like, okay, maybe for phase 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter how long your journey is or what way your journey looks, it's your journey, but you could use that to shred, okay? So anybody who's mentioned shredding, I'm just going to multitask here. I'm going to jump in the chat box and have a quick nosy while I'm talking. So anyone who is shredding, so if your goal is to shred, I want you to think about it that yes, you are going to be building muscle in this time. Okay, so you definitely are. The whole way through this program, we will be building muscle. Even if we ever go into full shred mode at the end of phase 6, if we want to, we still will be maintaining and building muscle. But the priority will be shredding body fat. So you will still be building muscle, but the priority will be shredding body fat. If you are building, then we will most likely still shred body fat as we build, because the more muscle that we build, the higher our metabolism, and muscle takes up less room in the body. So that can kind of give that leaner physique kind of look. So you'll definitely still be shredding body fat, but building muscle, that's the train of thought there, building muscle will be your priority. Burning body fat will be not as much the priority. Then the people who are like, oh, I don't know, you're maybe in that middle, you're kind of hovering around maybe that 25% mark. We'll talk about that. We'll try and get you settled in on what you're going to do. And I'm just having a little multitask here of a look in the chat box. So if you ever need any help, that is what the Facebook groups are for. So you can share your pictures and go, help me. Can anybody help me with a body fat? Yes, which some of you maybe already have. Now, what you'll find as coaches will be very annoying and we'll ask you lots of questions. And we will try and make you think first before we help you. So if you ask for a body fat guess, we'll normally ask, What are you guessing? We'll ask you first, just because it's all about learning. And you could be spot on, you could be way off. It doesn't matter. It's just we would like you to try and get a guess first. Then we will help you with it. We then use our body fats to kind of help us get a marker. And then from that, we can kind of work around that. So, great. Now, the reason we use pictures, because think about it. You know, when we go to a shop to buy a pair of jeans, we're not buying a pair of jeans by what we wear. You know, when we are looking in, when I'm looking at my sister-in-law, my best friend, I'm looking at Kim, it never ever comes to my mind, what do they weigh? It never ever comes to it. You know, when we go to the cinema, when we do anything, it never comes up what we weigh, you know. But I can definitely say growing up, you know, the scales were a measurement of everything. Magazines were obsessed with weight. You know, when you look back now, like sort of toxic media magazines from 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago, it was all about weight and obsessions with things. You know, we've got the Weight Watchers, the Slimming Worlds, and, you know, just that whole ethos of people standing at the front of a room on a scale, and it's like applauding if they lose weight, like boo if they put on weight. It's so toxic. And it's very inaccurate. So Antonia said it was horrible. Yes, totally, Jenny. And if you think about it, and I used to think all this because I didn't know any better. And if you think like this, it's okay. And it can take a while to get your head around this. Always appreciate and be kind to yourself. That if you feel that there's a certain way you've been thinking, a certain behavior you've had, a certain habits you've had, certain ways you've tried to maybe get to your goals in the past, and they haven't worked, it can still take time to unravel them, because you've maybe been trying those things for a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years. So really be kind to yourself. It can take a little bit of time to kind of get your head around concepts, and that's okay. And again, it can take a little bit of time to implement them. But that is why I love working in this 18-month group, because we've all the time together to work through these things. So definitely for me, it took a long time. You know, I can now stand on a scale, and if that number goes up or down, I'm like, ah, that's interesting. You know, it's not this big emotional roller coaster, which I'm attached to. And I have been a bodybuilder. I am not as lean. I'm still lean, but I'm not as lean as I used to be, and definitely not at the moment, because I had a very good summer and enjoyed myself. You know, so at the moment, like, my jeans are tighter, and before in the past, oh, I would have been gutted, because I was putting so much like connection and value to clothes size and the value of my body with clothes, etc. Whereas now I'm like, happy days, I've got glute gains because I've been doing butt camp tea with Kim. So I'm not knocking them, just maybe the waist part has been a bit uncomfortable, but I definitely have less like emotion and value attached to it. So the idea of taking these progress pictures, our hope is for you that if you have had any stuff with clothes sizes and scales and body image and all that kind of stuff, that we can start to detach from it a little bit. And, you know, what we do want is to look at ourselves and like what we see, you know, or to move about our day and feel a bit healthier, fitter, higher self-esteem. So we're going here for how we're feeling, and we're going here for how we're looking in a mirror. And again, sometimes what we see in the mirror and see in our heads is not quite the same things that everybody else in the group will see. So always, again, reach out if you need a bit of help with that. So with this, that is why we do the progress pictures. So I'm going to have a little nosy back through the chat box here of who's building, who's shredding. I'm going to just hone in on anybody who's not sure and see if I can help them out really, really quickly. So what I want you now to next tell me in this chat box. So I want you to feel really confident today that you're like, right, I'm building, I'm shredding. If you didn't know, you're like, boom, I know what I'm doing. So now what I want you to be really confident with is your why. So why did you purchase this program? Because it is a big investment. It is a long-term program. You know, there's a lot of commitment in a lot of different ways. And at the moment, we'll have the motivation, we'll have all the like exciting new group, newness. I will tell you in maybe 2-3 weeks, you will have no motivation, because motivation goes very quickly. You will be like, why did I buy this? What am I doing? But that is normal. Kim will always say, I will tell you, I have more crappy training sessions than I have good training sessions. I have more days when I just want to stay in bed. I don't want to get out of bed and train than days when I skip out of bed. I have more bad days than good days, but I know why I train. I have discipline from training so many times, creating many good habits, that now it actually feels more uncomfortable to not do them. Even when I can't really be bothered to do the things, I do them because it just would actually feel weird if I didn't do it. But all those things come with time. So fire in the chat box for me your why. If it's helpful, write it down. You know, I'm one for pens and paper and everything like this. So if you are like that, or you're writing notes in your phone, anything like this, I would really love you to write your why down, because that is something really important to keep coming back to when you're like, oh, you want to give up, you couldn't be bothered. It's very important to get back to why. So while you're doing that, I'm just going to be quiet for 1 second. So I have a little read here. And I did a little post, and I was in the 5-day challenge group, and you might not have come from there. With the Sculpted Vegan, you don't have to be a vegan to be a member of the company. I am not a vegan. I am definitely more plant-based now. I am still on my journey to get to there, but I definitely right now I'm not full-blown vegan, and that is okay. I don't have to be part of the company. So you might be vegan, you might be vegetarian, you might be non-vegan, and that is okay. We just always respect vegans, because it is a vegan company, and Kim is a vegan, and it's the ethos of our company. So if you need to talk about it, you can just say non-vegan. We can talk on proteins and carbs and fats and all that jazz, but we just try not to say sort of details of words like meats and stuff like that. So let me check here. Okay. Antonia, can you talk at the moment? If you can, pop yourself on mute and let me try and help you, because you're not too sure whether you're going to shred or build. And if you can't talk.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi.
Hi, how are you? So what are you not sure about?
Oh, I think I'm sure now, because you explained it better. So I think I need to shred.
Okay. And what have I said that made you then think that, do you think?
Because I think you said if you're above 30% body fat to start with shredding first.
Yep.
So I think I've done, I'm like somewhere between 30 and 35. So I'm gonna shred first. I just had a question.
Yeah.
What is the butt camp? Is it okay to start with that first? And how long does it last? And
yeah, okay. So I'll answer it quick. Amazing. So to just anybody who joined late, let me super duper recap what I'd said. So the advice in the program, you were nearly right. You're right in your choice, Atanya. With the marker for building or shredding, we tend to use sort of around 23 to 25, probably more 25 is the highest mark. So again, this isn't a magic number. It's not this be all and end all. It's only really an amount that we use within the 18 months just as a marker. Just for anybody who is wanting to get into that build phase, we do want to try and shred first. So we advise maybe using phase 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. It doesn't matter how many phases you use to get there, but using it as a shred. So Tanya, you were right on that one, with just the wee numbers, sort of that 23 to 25 marker. I will touch on boot camp super duper quick. So for anyone who did get boot camp, or is maybe so excited and got a FOMO and is thinking of getting boot camp, again, we're going to use this call to discuss sculpting shreds, but boot camp is 8 weeks. The challenge will start on the 11th of October, and so that goes on for 8 weeks after that. And it's always your personal preference. So for some people, they're like, oh, okay, no, you know, I need to get settled into this sculpt and shred. I've made this decision, you know, I need to just get set on this journey, get stuck into it and go for it. And that's the right answer for that person. For some people, they might decide to use the 8-week as a bit of a kickstart and then come back to this program. So it's very much up to you. And I'll always advise, you know, it's whatever you can commit to and you can stick to is going to be the best choice for you. So for some of us who maybe have sculpt and shred and boot camp at the moment, sculpt and shred might be the right path for you to get stuck right into. For some of us, maybe it is boot camp, that's maybe the path to start with, and then come just to sculpt and shred. So have a little think about that. Tanya, does that answer your questions?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Let me just check if anyone else is not. Julie's not sure. Julie, if you're free to talk, unmute yourself and see if I can help you here quickly before we move on.
Hi. So
Hi.
I think I'm at the same place now that you've kind of explained it, that I believe I'm at the 40% body mark. So I would definitely say that I needed to shred first.
Perfect. Okay,
and I like what you said about the butt camp thing, because I was thinking, ooh, I'll do that too. Yeah, I'm the person that if I add too much on, I quit it all. So I think I'll wait.
Perfect.
And do the one.
Yeah. So good point. If anybody does have boot camp and does have sculpt and shred, it definitely wouldn't be that you mix them. That would be, that would be a disaster. So definitely you would choose one or the other. So I'm glad you said that. We'll be all over the place, but that's good. So I'm happy you're settled. Just let me pick up anybody else. Dawn Elizabeth, you're 28 body, can't talk, 28% body fat. So I think I'm going to build. Awesome, go for it. So Dawn, you're kind of an in-betweener. So Dawn, do you know what I want you to do? If you don't mind doing it, I want you to put some pictures in the Sculpt and Shred Facebook group and tag me in them. So in the Facebook groups, what I was suggesting, I don't know, my voice has been a long day today with boot camp and behind the scenes. I'm stuttering over my words. If you are posting pictures, tag at Laura Hutchinson and always will like highlight my name, and that I'll get a notification, hopefully to get to you quicker. You could tag Lee Hardy and also Vanessa Burgess, so they'll be helping you on the onboarding calls. And you can also post like hashtag ask coach, and that can sometimes be a quicker way for us to get to you, because it'll give us a bit more notifications, or we can find them, because Facebook is crazy. So if you're really not sure, tag me in some pictures and I can help you narrow them down. So Dawn, I would maybe tag me in some pictures, because I feel like you're in the in-between mark, and I'd quite like to maybe get a little nosy and help you just to narrow that down. Carrie, you're not sure either. So Carrie, you're at my top corner. Can you chat at the moment? What are you not too sure about?
Actually, you know, listening to the conversation, I think I'll probably start with a shred. I think I'm about 35%.
Okay,
I'm sort of one of those people that looks not too bad in clothes, but once they get them off, it's not good.
High-waisted leggings, you like?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I asked the question, could you do both? Obviously, I'm going to do them separate.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited. I feel quite emotional. I'm so fed up with feeling how I do.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah,
100%. Like that. Do you know what? Sometimes you have to get to rock bottom and you have to get to a point where you're just like done, to then information to go in, action to be taken, you know, it changes. You've inspired me, Carrie. change is hard. And what I will always say, especially in the 18-month in the Sculpt and Shred, the things that you guys find the most challenging on this journey, so the thing that you keep trying and falling, trying it again and failing at it, you know, trying again and it goes all wrong, that is the thing that you need to change the most. And that is okay, because the change and the unknown can feel scarier and harder, even if it's good. So even if it is the body we want, even if it is the life we want, it's just like, oh, you know, it's a lot of efforts. It's a lot of my life I have to change, a lot of habits, a lot of, you know, things maybe from our childhood that we're still doing 40 years later, you know, and we'll have to unravel, and it's messy, and it's just a lot of hard work. But those are the things which will, once we push through them, and kind of, it's like getting up a mountain and up a hill, once we're at the other side, we'll be like, we'll be down it. So sometimes it takes you to get to there, to get the action to take it. So, you know, for all of you guys, if you feel like Carrie, this is a big commitment. So you really have taken that first step, which is massive, and it's to help you get there. And we're so happy because, you know, even all our shred programs are amazing, like the butt camp, buns and guns, etc., etc. They're brilliant and they're great kickstarts, but we always want to bring people in here for the long term, for the lifestyle changes, for the long-term sustainable fat loss or muscle building, you know, just to really help that any changes you make now, you're still doing them in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time. You know, this is just the way you live your life, you know, that you do it. So definitely that's good. So
yeah,
I'm glad.
no, well, thank you. And I'm really excited to be part of the group, and I wish everybody lots of success, and you'll get to your goals. I know you will. So
amazing.
good to meet you.
Fabulous. Oh, is it, you know, we only started doing these Zoom calls at the start of this year. We never did it before, and they're so lovely because you can put faces to names, and it does just feel like you're all sitting in my house right now, which is a bit strange.
We're all going to be knocking on your door.
I know. So let me just fly through. Okay, so I'm going to move on from this question. If you feel that you're still unsure, tag me in the group and I will help you. But I just want to kind of to move on from it. So hopefully more people now are happy if they're building or shredding. And if not, if you're still unsure, maybe you will be certain by the end of this. And if not, tag me in the group to have a chat. So what we want to do now, we want to choose a start date. So if you are Sculpt and Shred, this is me. Butt camp, no, we're not going to look at it. And I'll come to that if you're going to use it. So if you're Sculpt and Shredding and that's it, you're going to choose a start date, you're going to choose an end date. Because again, if there's no finish line and start, it's like, where are you going? It's very easy to get lost. It's very easy to go off the path. It's very easy to go, oh, I'll maybe finish it. Whereas if you decide on the end date, it's a decision you are going to finish it. So I'll talk about the people who are doing Sculpt and Shred, and then I'll come to any butt camp people who are going to do that first. So you want to get a start date, you want to get an end date. You might build forever and live at maintenance calories and live happily ever after. Brilliant. You might decide on this journey you need to shred the whole time, and you're going to do like 2 loops of the 18-month. Like we have members and they've been here for 4 years And it's not that they haven't achieved their goals. It's because they're living this lifestyle. And that is the thing. I've been a bodybuilder. Kim's been a bodybuilder. A lot of people, when they share their body goals, it's all fitness models or bodybuilders, and they don't have their bodies by shredding all the time. They've done periods of like building muscle and then maybe getting a little bit leaner, building muscle, getting a little bit leaner. You know, they kind of go in cycles. I now just live at maintenance because I've kind of done that for 5 years and just quite happy where I am. It's all dependent on you. You might shred, then build, and build is not bulk. Build is not all the good shredding you've done goes out the window, or build is like you're now 5 clothes sizes bigger than whatever you were and you're busting out of your clothes like the Incredible Hulk. I find, and this might happen to you, and it's happened to me, and it happens to a lot of members, when people do come to build, it's weird. It's a weird concept for women because we're attaching like negative connotations to that word. It's like, oh, build. And we're thinking of all the negative things with it. When build is literally eating at your TDEE. It's not that exciting. From that TDEE, if our pictures are looking good, we add a teeny tiny 100 calories on each week. We take more pictures. If they're looking good, we add another teeny tiny 100 calories on each day of each week. So it's like, again, this little creep up of calories. It's not like all the food and all the calories. Everything's very goal-based. And again, I would get you to think of Kim. You know, if you are new to the Sculpted Vegan, go on Kim's Instagram and go way back to the start, you know, of those 4, 5, 6 years ago that I'm talking about and Kim talks about. And you will see her and you will see through her pictures of building and shredding. Still kind of looks exactly the same, but our body's changed a little bit either side, but there's not been any dramatic where our bodies went this way and then this way, like any yo-yo dieting or yo-yo binging of food or anything like that. So building, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a very measured thing. So some of us might shred, build, then decide to do a shred at the end. Some of us might be building now and then shred at the end. Who knows, you know, and don't rush your body. Just really, your body will take you where it takes you to. And that can be another really common thing with the sculpt and shred, because maybe we're used to trying things for 4 weeks or 8 weeks. Well, what result? And we want to know what's going to happen, how we're going to look like, is it worth it? And then we're thinking 18 months. Oh, and we're like, oh, okay. So I will already warn you, if you're doing a sculpt and shred, this is not 8-week butt camp. If you do 8-week butt camp and come back into the sculpt and shred, it will not be like that, because our shred programs are for the fast body transformative changes where we will keep most of our results, but we won't keep all of our results, because we manipulate carbs, we do a calorie drop, we do lots of cardio, which we couldn't keep up forever. But it's to get that real change from a before to an after picture. Whereas, and that's great, and that might be the correct answer for you to do now, and then come into the sculpt and shred. But the sculpt and shred is going to be all about the long-term sustainable body fat loss or muscle building, so that after 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, you still have everything that you've lost, or you still have everything that you've built, because we've done it in a sustainable way. We're not manipulating carbs for water loss. We're not doing this crazy cardio, which takes over all of our life. And we're not in a really low calorie drop where we can't go out for dinner or we can't go to a friend's birthday. This is our lifestyle program. It's a bit slower, but that's the point of it, because it's our long term. So just to kind of set you up for that. So anyone who eyes or sculpt and shred, no butt camp, I want you to have a start date. I want you to have an end date. Your end date is where you want to think. Have I built for it? Have I shredded for it? And this will apply to everyone. So I want everybody to think about this, whether you're going to do boot camp first and then sculpt and shred. Your end date of your sculpt and shred, you want to have some sort of goal. Whether that is like, I want to be, and maybe you will use a clothes size because that is motivating for you. Again, not a number on the scale. Clothes are definitely a bit more what we're looking and what we're feeling. So if you want to use that, that's okay. Maybe it's a holiday, maybe it's a birthday, maybe it's a wedding, maybe you're going to get pictures taken, a photo shoot. They could be, whether it's your partner taking those pictures or a professional photo shoot, and you're going to be in a bikini or in a sexy pair of jeans and a nice top or a nice dress. Maybe you want to do a bodybuilding show. Maybe you never ever want to do anything like that. I just want you to have a real clear end goal, and you can see it, you can feel it, you can smell it, you can picture it, you can really visualize it, and that is there, okay? Now with that, what could be really helpful as well? So I've got my calendar and my phone. So to go through, so here's my start date, okay. 10 weeks, so there's the start of phase 1. 10 weeks, bump in my diary, there's the end of phase 1. Start of phase 2, 10 weeks, so there's my start of phase 2, my end of phase 2, and so on. Put your phases in your diary. It doesn't matter if you go on holiday. It does not matter if your cat dies. It does not matter if your car breaks down and you're having an absolute nightmare of weeks. It does not matter if you fall completely off the wagon, because there is no wagon to be on or off, but everything goes wrong and you lose your way. We'll keep ticking those weeks off. People can be very tempted to restart, but when we're restarting, that's us aiming for perfection, the perfect program, the perfect phase where everything went right. Most of the time, things are not going to go right. Life's going to be really complicated. It's going to be really messy. Everything you have planned is going to go wrong, but it's whatever you can do over this time to keep moving forwards will get you towards your goals. If you keep trying to restart every time something happens, then you will be stuck in phase 1 forever. And the program is long enough without being stuck in phase 1 forever. People can sometimes then be tempted. People will disappear and they reappear, and they've been in phase 3 for 3 months. You're like, oh, what have you been doing? And again, you know, phase 3 hasn't been what they wanted, or the high expectations they had put on phase 3. And because it did not meet their expectations, they stayed there. But again, that is aiming for perfection of a phase, or something that was never going to happen, and people can just get stuck. And getting stuck, we're not going anywhere. Whereas if we keep moving forwards, even if it's messy, even if things have went wrong, this company, things go wrong all the time. We make a lot of mistakes. You will come to know that. We will send wrong emails. This PDF for boot camp will probably get changed 5 times. I'm really joking, really hopefully won't. But we always say not to print it out for the first 2 weeks, because we might need to make changes, because no matter how much you proof it, things go wrong sometimes, and it's okay. Everything, if it goes wrong, it's lessons, it's failure, okay? But failure is good because we can learn from it. So again, if we restart, or we get stuck in a phase, we're not going anywhere. So we want to keep going forwards, even if it's messy, even when things don't go to plan. I want you to be like, good, what can I learn from it? You know, why did I not train at all this week? Did I say yes to too many people when I should have blocked off in my diary to get my training sessions in? Did I not do my food shop? So I was grabbing food on the go. Am I not going to bed early enough because I need to go to bed at this time if I want to get up at this time because I want to get to the gym? You know, everything is absolute lessons and learnings of what you can do to move forwards. So anyone who's got sort of tunnel vision on Sculpt and Shred, brilliant. I want you to have start date, end date, and I want you to break up the 5 phases, even now, right now, in your calendar. Start of phase 1, end of phase 1, start of phase 2, end of phase 2, and so on. And they're 10 weeks each. Now, we'll let those guys do that. For anybody who's heading into boot camp, okay, I'm not going to give you any tips or tricks for the program because I can do that in the boot camp group. But what you're going to do, what I would advise you to do, soak up the information over the next 2 weeks in Sculpt and Shred. Soak up the information over the next 2 weeks of the boot camp programs. You could even start Sculpt and Shred and do these 2 weeks, hit pause, do boot camp, and then restart phase 1, week 3, once you've finished boot camp. So there's your kind of 2 options. You can just soak everything up, get into the swing of whatever you fancy, and then go for boot camp and Sculpt and Shred, or you could start Sculpt and Shred, pause when boot camp, sort of the start of it on the 11th of October starts, and then come back and you'll just pick up where you left off. You will pick up here. And Tanya, so each phase is 10 weeks. Each phase is 10 weeks of it. So again, I'll leave that up to you. And again, just for anybody who has boot camp and Sculpt and Shred, we're definitely not going to do the 2 of them at the same time. But I want you to really think what is right for you. So for some of us, do you know what? Sculpt and Shred, it's this. It's to get started on this path. Brilliant. You could do boot camp next summer. You know, you've got it. It's always there. And for some of us, it's going to do boot camp and then come into Sculpt and Shred. For some of us, we don't have boot camp, so it's a no-brainer. So that's that. Now, again, let's imagine whatever you're doing. I want you to imagine that you're starting phase 1. So we are going to take progress pictures that everybody hates. We hate them. They're uncomfortable, especially the before pictures, but you're going to do them. You want to snap them. So sort of full length pictures. So I know my head's missing, but front, would you like zombie to the side with the arms out, to the back, to the sides. And then just fire them away. Create an album in your phone and shove them away. Again, I have a head like a sieve. I need to write everything down. I love my diary. So even every 2 weeks, put alerts in your phone to take your pictures. Whether you are on your period, whether you are going through the menopause and you feel like crap, whether you are bloated, you are having a good day, a bad day, just take the pictures. We're not taking them to judge them. We're not only taking them when we feel good and not taking them when we don't feel good, because then that will be placing judgment on them. They're all data. They're all information. You will not regret this first picture that you take. This will become probably right now, maybe for some of us, the most uncomfortable picture that we take, but it will eventually become your favorite picture, because it will be the picture that you keep referencing back to when you take your progress pictures. I love my most recent picture to keep comparing to my very first one, because we look at ourselves in the mirror every day and we're very quick to criticize. We're very quick to put ourselves down and think what we haven't done and sort of block out what we have. And we're always wanting results faster than they come. So I would really encourage you, get that first picture done and keep coming back to that. Keep coming back to it. So now we've got the builders, we've got the shredders. We've hopefully got people now thinking, Sculpt and Shred, that's my avenue, that's my path. Or maybe you're going boot camp and Sculpt and Shred. So hopefully we're tick in here. So now I want you to tell me in the chat box, I'm going to be annoying and just ask me. If you can tell me in the chat box, again, building or shredding, and if you can tell me the amount of calories you've calculated. So if you came from the 5-day challenge, we used the PDFs there to help calculate our TDEE. And then we were taking like a little bit of a deficit off it if we were shredding. If you were in the 5-day, if you came into Sculpt and Shred from the 5-day challenge and you haven't watched all of the 5-day challenge videos, I would really encourage you to watch them. Because if you ask for help, I'll probably ask you that when you ask for help anyway. Just because even the original members of the Sculpt and Shred, we were like, go watch those videos, because those videos were very much curated around the Sculpt and Shred, sort of the founding principles that we use. So it will really help you understand what we're doing and why. It's always so important that we know why and what we're doing. The macro calculator at the moment is down on the website. You might have noticed that, and it was sending some very funny numbers. Right, so we're in the process of getting that fixed at the moment. So if you were part of the 5-day challenge and you haven't done your sums, your information is there in the 5-day challenge under announcements to do your sums. And I'm going to send you there because all the learning is there. And again, we're not giving you like a little bit of information, so you have to keep coming back for more and you just don't know how to think for yourselves. I want you to be like able to, and I'm terrible at maths. This hurts my head. I try my best. I've been a bit lazy and I've been using the macro calculator a bit too much myself. I've had to force myself to do the PDF sums. For me, again, if it hurts my head, I need to do it more. I need to do the sums again and again and again until they're easy peasy. So I want you to do them. I want you to really, really try them. I appreciate some people might have joined maybe from the Facebook ads that we've been running, and you're not part of the 5-day body makeover. I'd actually encourage you to join that group as well, because you'll get lots of information there. So if you need a little bit of help with your sums, do let me know. And just fire them in the chat box. So if you're building or shredding, because that just helps me suss out calorie amounts, and I can check in at them. Okay, so I'll look for these. Now, when we do our TDEEs, Irene saying no clue, I need to go watch the videos. Totally, Irene, and don't panic, it's okay. So again, don't rush absorbing this information. When I rush, I skim and I don't read properly and I miss things. There's all the time in the world to start the program. Take your time with all the information. My videos, lives, podcasts, I do them when I'm driving, I'm cleaning, I'm walking my dog, I'm doing my cardio. I'm always multitasking to listen to those things. So don't feel like you have to sit down and sort of carve time to catch up on these things, because you probably never get the time, but just wherever you can get caught up on it, it is absolutely okay. So a really common thing that comes up when we choose our activity levels, it's really disappointing, because you always think that you do more than what you do. Before I joined the company, so I've known Kim for years. I've been in the fitness industry for 13 years. Since I left school, I've been a Pilates instructor, a gymnastics coach, a personal trainer. So, well, pre-COVID, because COVID missteps went, yeah, because you're walking from your bedroom to your bathroom to your sofa to your bedroom again. But pre-COVID, I was doing like 30,000 steps a day, because I was teaching Zumba and Zumba Aqua and walking up and down my gymnastics club and all over the place. And now I technically have a desk job. You know, I'm teaching like this, I'm writing the training programs. So I'm sedentary. It's very disappointing. I train, I do my cardio, I walk my dogs, but I'm still sitting on my butt most of the day now, so I'm sedentary. We use Kim as a marker as moderately active, and Kim doesn't stop. You know, she'll sit down if she's doing a live, she'll sit down if she does a podcast, Other than that, she doesn't sit down in her day, and she normally does double cardio. And when she's doing cardio, I'm like jogging along beside her because I have these little tiny legs and they can't keep up with her big legs. So she's getting like those 2 hours of power walks in and the heavy, crazy training sessions. Highly active would be somebody like a builder on a building site where they are, and they're probably not our body goals, but I would say it's just because unfortunately they probably don't have access to good nutrition to match all their activity. But you know, think of a builder, they do not stop, they're lifting bricks, they're lifting things, they're moving things, they're pretty much doing weights for like 9 to 5. So that's kind of what that is there. So you're always better to underestimate, because a lot of the time we can be overestimating. If you have body fat that you want to lose, I want you to think of body fat as stored energy. That's all it is. It's stored energy. At some points in our life, there has been more energy coming in than more energy coming out. So again, we're better to underestimate to definitely make sure that there's going to be some sort of gap there, some sort of deficit where there is, how do I want to word this, where there is less energy coming in and more energy coming out. Because if we don't do that, we're still in that point where there's more energy coming in than there is energy going out, okay? And again, if you feel that that is you, there's no judgment. We are not judging ourselves. It's just that there's been more energy. More's come in than there has been coming out. Now, at the same time, if you are, when you get towards those sort of 25% body fat markers, if you ever want to, you might not, and that is okay. As we head below that, the body's happy. The body's like, I'm just trying to keep you alive. I'm just working. I'm just doing what I'm doing. Your body does not care what you look like on the outside. It definitely does if we're maybe not feeling so healthy. But when we get to a pretty healthy point and we're just trying to sort of look a certain way for vanity reasons, your body's like, we're good. We're good. So that is when, even if we're trying to lose quite a bit of body fat, even if you're just trying to get rid of those niggly bits, like the bits in the backs of your arms or your hips or your tummy, and they just won't go away, like the stubborn pieces of body fat, our body's just always trying to work. So we always want to try and create these deficits, but they're not drastic. They're not big gaping gaps. Your body doesn't like that. That's when we stay stuck. That's when we just look the same. That's when our body holds on to stuff because it's like, I'm just trying to get by. I'm just trying to survive. So for anybody, if you are now at that kind of 25% body fat or lower, or you ever get to there, building muscle, because we'll maybe get members and they'll be like 20% body fat, but they just don't like their tummy. They just don't like their tummy. There's still like a bit in their tummy they don't like, but they're 20% body fat. And I always say, your body's happy. Your body is really, really happy right now the way you are. If you shred at this amount, when your body's healthy and happy, what did you say, sorry? Okay. If you try and shred at that point, you know, when your body's good and your body's happy, it'll start working against you. That's when we tend to build. We tend to eat at those more maintenance calories. And the act of building muscle has the knock-on effect of helping people lose body fat. So always, always think, our body's just trying to get by. If we've got extra body fat than maybe we want, there's just been more energy coming in than there's been energy coming out. Okay, so we're going to help our body with that. We're going to try and expand that energy. Either, well, we are with our calorie deficit. We're going to create that little bit of a deficit with the nutrition, and we're going to create that bit of a deficit with our exercise. If you're at the building, we are going to burn away body fat. We're going to create muscle. We're going to boost our metabolism. Muscle takes up less space than body fat. But again, we're going to do that by eating and fueling our muscles, kind of eating around our TDEE, and then we might build from that point. So I want you guys, so just saying, some people need to leave, and if you do, that's okay. I'm going to go on a wee, maybe another 7-10 minutes longer if you can wait. If not, you can absolutely head on, and you always get the recording, and you can always sort of jump ahead to this little bit with it. So anybody who is shredding, let me go back a step. So for everybody, you have, so again, we're going to imagine we're doing the sculpt and shred. So even if this is right now, or even if this is when you come back after boot camp, you're either going to choose the 4-day split or the 5-day split or the calisthenic home program, because I know some of us might be in lockdown, but you're going to choose one of them. People are very tempted to choose the 5-day because they're like, 5 days are better than 4. If you can't commit to 5 days, do the 4 days, because there's no point aiming for something that was unrealistic and then not hitting it. So 4 days is what you can do. 4 days is what you will do, and you will get everything into those 4 days. The program's been designed for that. If you can do 5 days, wonderful. Do the 5 days, okay? So you're going to choose that training program, and we're going to be consistent. We're going to train to failure. We're going to train as heavy as we can. We're going to get really, really stuck into that. Now, that applies to everybody, whether you're building or shredding. Now, for the shredders, this is where we use cardio. Cardio is like a tool in our toolkit for fat burning. And it's LISS, low intensity, steady state cardio. Now, if you're a runner and you like running, we are not going to tell you to never run again. If you like to swim, if you horse ride, if you do any other form of cardio, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That's great, okay? But we use sort of power walking, Stairmasters, stationary bikes, anything where our cardio sort of stays around that fat burning zone and stays consistent. So when I walk my dog, stop, start, stop, start. When I walk my dog, even in class, I have to leave my dogs at home to do my LISS cardio because they just hold me back. I have to do my power walk on my own because we want that steady heart rate to help us with our fat burning. So the advice for anybody who is shredding is to do more cardio. And again, maybe it's just for phase 1. Maybe it's for phase 1 and 2. It's just a tool in your toolkit that we would really, really advise that you use. So anybody who has more body fat to use, lose, I would really encourage you to try and get 4 to 5 cardio sessions in a week. Start at half an hour, build it up towards an hour each day. Start at 20 minutes and build it up. Start where you meet yourself where you are now and build it up. So I'm not going to say right now 5 daily hour cardio sessions a week right now. If you can, amazing. But if that's not where you're at, start with 10 minutes, then build it up to 15 next week, then build it up to 20 the week after. Okay, so I want you to think about it and be realistic. Start and meet yourself where you are now and build up from that. Now, anybody who's building, I love a good power walk. It's when I listen to my cardio. It's good for my mental health. I find it relaxing. I just like to use it to get my steps up and to keep me active. So anybody who is building, you can totally still do cardio. It's a good way for people when they do their TDEE and they're like, oh, I've never ate this many calories in my life. And it's a really weird concept. It's strange. Cardio can be just a nice way to balance that idea of eating more, but it's a positive thing. And you're really, really moving. It can be a nice way to do that. If you want to do 5 cardio sessions, of course you can. Maybe you already do that, but we're only really recommending maybe 2, 3. It's great for your health. It's up to you, okay? So I want you to think more body fat to shred in these first phases or phase, more cardio. Not as much body fat to shred, maybe a bit of cardio, but it's not your priority. So it's going to be entirely up to you with that. Somebody has said about TDEE. So Amanda, I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to answer it in this, but you can tag me in the Facebook group and I can help you in there. If you came from the 5-day challenge, all the information is in there to get help with that. Okay, so what I want to use for the chat box now, I'll try and get chatting to one or two of you. Okay, I want everybody to think, what could be the biggest thing that is going to get in your way in this program? So what in the past has tripped you up? Is it self-sabotage? Is it self-doubt? What do you foresee coming up in your calendar over the next 18 months? Do your family not support you? Do your co-workers always bring cake into the office? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of things. But I want you to think of, if your goals are the same, and these have been your goals for the past years, what has got in your way? Okay. What always trips you up? What's tripped you up recently? Did you used to be one way and now you're this way? Kim, if you were in the 5-day challenge, and you might not have been, that's absolutely okay. Kim used like a homework of people sharing like their dirty little secrets. And she used an example of a guy who was an alcoholic, and he came to a therapist, and he'd come to this therapist and they would do all this work and it was brilliant. And they were really getting somewhere. And then he'd go away and he'd end up drinking alcohol. And he was getting really upset with it and he was feeling really, really stuck. And one day the therapist asked him, what's your favorite drink? And the guy was like, Jack Daniels or something like that. And he was like, all right, okay. So that was that. So it kept happening. So one day the guy was at his therapy session and talking away to the guy, and he was all this and this and that. And next minute the therapist pulled out like a bottle of Jack Daniels and slammed it on the table. And the guy just turned, and he could have like grabbed the bottle and rammed it down the neck. And the therapist was like, aha, that's the guy I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to the guy who's coming into the office every week, Mr. Perfect, or trying to be one way, bringing the best version of himself. And then at times, the worst version of himself comes up, when the Jack Daniels appeared. He needed to work with the guy, which came out when the Jack Daniels appeared. That version that he hid, that version that was buried away in here. So, I will always share with you guys, I've not struggled with my weight in the way of being what you could class medically overweight or anything like that, but I have struggled with perfectionism, seeing that's come up in some of the comments here. Depression, anxiety, my perfectionism was then wrapped up with very poor body image. I realized the thoughts that I were thinking were very different than what other people would think. The things I would say to myself, the glasses I was looking at myself through were like the most critical glasses you could ever get. I've definitely struggled mentally with so many things, and they're what have got in my way. So there's never any judgment in these groups. Do not feel that you only have to post in the group when you're having a good day, when you've had your wins, when you have seen positive changes. Post in the group when you're having a bad day, when everything's went wrong, when you've taken your pictures and you haven't seen any changes, when you've taken your pictures, so say you're taking your progress pictures and you're only posting them when they're looking like they're going a positive way, and you're not posting them when maybe you haven't changed or you've put on body fat. What pictures are actually going to help us as coaches get you more success? It's going to be the ones where you haven't changed, if you want to change, or where you're going away that you don't want to. But again, if you don't share that with us, we can't help you. With any of my past personal training clients, I've always encouraged honesty, and we have the same thing in the groups, because again, if a client's not telling me what they're really eating, what they're really doing, what they're really thinking, then I can't help them. I can't help that person. And the most important thing in all of this is self-accountability. So if you're telling me one thing but doing another, then you know that you're lying. And that makes no difference to my life. That has absolutely no impact on my life. I'm not going to know any better, but you will know, and you won't trust yourself. And Kim will always talk about self-accountability and self-awareness. So even the tiny things, so the act of you choosing the 5-day split or the 4-day split, if you choose the 5-day split, but it was never realistic for your life, and the 4-day split was more realistic, you will never be able to achieve the 5-day split. And every week you will set yourself up for failure, and you'll be feeling like you're not achieving something, but you could never. So you have to be very, very careful the decisions that we're making and making sure they're realistic. So again, if you go today, right, I'm going to do 6 60-minute cardio sessions. I'm going to do 60 minutes cardio a week, or every day, 6 times a week from now. And if that's a massive change from what your life is like right now, you're probably not going to do that. And again, you're going to set yourself up for failure, and then you're going to feel terrible. It'll be all this big cycle. Whereas maybe you need to go, right, I'm going to do 6 15-minute, cardios, or I'm going to start with 2 60-minute cardio sessions a week and build from there. So I want you to really, really meet yourself where you are right now. Then as well, if I just decide I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow, and I am going to go to the gym, and I go to bed at like 1 a.m. So 5 a.m. comes around, I haven't got enough sleep, I'm tired, I haven't got my bag packed, I haven't got myself organized, I'll probably not go to the gym. Then the next night, I might think again, tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym at 5 a.m. in the morning. And there'll be like a little voice in my head will go, no, you're not. You're not. And that voice is probably right. So again, if you're creating habits and setting them up in such a way which are unachievable, or you're setting your standards too high, to a way that you can't meet them, you're not going to trust yourself. You're not going to trust yourself that you can do them. So again, I want you to start small. I want you to start achievable, but you can tick these things off. So you're building data of, I did do that. I said I would do that, and I did that. Okay, I said I would do that, and then I didn't do that, but why? Why was that? Okay, and you're going to get reasons for that. You might have tried many, many things in the past before, and they haven't worked. I want you to really think why, okay? No judgment, and you're going to move forward with this. If your family does not believe that you can complete this, that is okay. Because again, maybe you've given them that data that you've never completed things before, but that does not mean that you will not complete this. You will find as you go through this journey, everybody will have an opinion. And what you'll learn about opinions, especially negative opinions, they're just projections of other people. New that you've never done before, people are going to have an opinion. If you're maybe trying something drastically different than what your partner does, from what your mum does, your cousins, your work colleagues do, they're going to have an opinion. People might try and sabotage you. They might not notice. People might be really negative and try and put you down. And I want you to really think that's a reflection of them. It's not to do with you. Keep coming back to your why you're doing this program, and the only person's opinion is yours that matters within this. So I want to have a quick nosy. Okay, so I've got some alcohol coming up. I've definitely had struggles with that myself in the past, getting in the way of goals, poor planning, self-doubt, self-sabotage, time, brilliant, happy hours, alcohol, eating out, and vacations, weddings, injuries break my momentum and I start slipping, not seeing results in photos, totally can connect to these. Self-sabotage, lots of self-perfectionism, totally. Okay, right. Perfectionism. Okay. All right, I'm going to dive. So I'm going to keep you too much longer, guys, because again, Lee will dive into these things. Vanessa will dive into these things. I wanted to really use this session just to get you markered with your blocks of everything. And I'll tell Leah and Vanessa that we have touched on these, so they might cover it a little bit and kind of some other aspects. But let me grab Tina Fisk. I think we've talked in the groups. If you can talk at the moment, will you unmute yourself? If you're still here. And you might not be. Let me look. She isn't. I've talked too long. She's not there. Let me go back in. Judith. Is Judith still here? Is she still listening to me waffle? Let me see.
Hello.
Yay! You're a survivor.
Yeah.
So, Judith, I've chosen you because now we're not alcoholics, but we're going to talk about alcohol, and it's came up for quite a few people. So, totally normal, but again, some of us might not drink, and that's fine. I do. You probably know Kim definitely does. So, what way would you say it's got in the way of your goals before?
I think with me, it's like one drink's never, you have a glass of wine, you're having a bit of crack with people, and one drink isn't enough. So I always say to myself, right, you're not going to drink, and then I think that's unrealistic. I'll have one. But even that seems unrealistic. And it's not that I'm an alcoholic, I'm not, but I do like the social side of it.
Yeah.
And I seem to struggle with, I'd be better just not having a drink and just abstaining and getting, like a non-alcoholic beer or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I find what happens is that I enjoy myself too much, and then I drink too much, and then I feel really rubbish the next day, and I eat rubbish stuff, and I don't do the workout.
Yes.
And that's just sort of keeps not reoccurring as in like every day or every week, but I sometimes am doing really well, I'm on a run, and then I'll do that and I feel rubbish for days after.
Totally. Totally get you.
The damage I seem to
what
do.
were you planning to?
Sorry?
Oh, I lost a wee bit of connection there. What were you saying?
Yes, it's just a sort of reoccurring theme, and then I, sort of hate myself.
Oh, been there. And what were you planning on doing for phase 1? Were you shredding or building?
So I'm gonna shred. So basically, I did buy Sculpt and Shred a while ago, but I did it until Buns and Guns.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I was in Spain for most of August, and I've had a very disruptive September, I've just stuck doing the workouts of Buns and Guns. I'm starting next week, Sculpt and Shred phase 1, and I'm going to shred because I do think I've put on. Well, I don't look as toned after the summer, let's say. And, obviously I was, being away on holiday, drunk a few times more than I would have. So
you had a good time.
Yeah, I did. Too good a time.
Okay, amazing. So, awesome question, comes up a lot. So, I am going to throw many options out here, and for everybody to think. And again, the best thing for you will be the best thing for you. So, if you do not drink alcohol, great. This little bit will not occur to you. So, Sculpt and Shred is our lifestyle program. If anybody is going to do 8-week boot camp, I wrote the part in boot camp about alcohol. It's an 8-week shred. If you want amazing body transformation results, alcohol is a no-no. If we are in a lifestyle program, it's a It all depends with your goals. So this is where you will learn so much about yourself in these programs. They're all journeys, and this is the longer program. And you have to start to get to know yourself. You have to start to get to know the way you think about things, the stories you tell yourself, the excuses you bring up, the mindset that you have, the way, are you an all or nothing person? Are you a starter but you don't finish? What things happen but they trip you up. So I'm going to start from it's not extreme, but I'll call it the most extreme advice I'm going to give until the other one. So if you are someone and you want to lose body fat, and you recognize that alcohol has maybe got in the way of that. So you have this goal here, and you've been trying to get towards it, and alcohol has been getting in the way of it. And again, we're not saying we're alcoholics. It's just that, yeah, it's empty calories. It's just more calories. And when I drink beer, I want to eat crisps and have munchies, you know. If I've drank a bit too much, the next day I'm dehydrated, then I want to order pizza. It's a whole cycle, and I'm tired, and I haven't slept enough. So then my training isn't as good. And it can be this whole snowball effect. So I'm totally connected to Judith and what she said there. Definitely been there before. So sometimes we do need to take a look at our goal, where we are now, and what's been getting in the way. And again, no judgment, but if alcohol has been that thing, sometimes we do need to give it a break, even for a while, just to get, if it's just been like this little wall, which has kept getting in the way of our goal. And if alcohol is, so let's make it a bit more general here. If it's not alcohol, maybe it is sugar. So pretend that alcohol is sugar. I'll tweak my advice a little bit when it comes to that. Maybe it is going to, going all out in a, a schedule that you could never keep up, and you go all guns blazing and then you stop. Maybe it's the wall where one thing doesn't go perfectly to plan and you're like, oh, screw that, the perfectionism, so think of anything that you told me in the chat box, which has got in the way here. Think of it like this wall here, and I'll try and use all the different examples as much as I can. So if it's alcohol, maybe you do need to give it a break. If it's alcohol or sugar, binge eating, comfort eating, all of this, so maybe not necessarily, alcohol can be a social thing, but I want you to think about alcohol if you're using it as an emotional thing, as the thing that's relaxing you, as the thing that's de-stressing you, as the thing that's numbing you. So if we use alcohol that way and compare it to sugar and binge eating and emotional eating, when it comes in that way, it's not to do with the thing, it's to do with the emotion. So we are maybe trying to eat our feelings away. Maybe Monday to Friday, our lives are so stressful, but when it comes to the weekend, we deserve that drink. We deserve that food, because we have had this hard week and we deserve to have this. And we've had these best intentions Monday to Friday, but then we deserve to have this. Maybe it is that crazy stressful day, and the only way you know how to unwind is that glass of wine, which then turns into the bottle of wine, which then turns into eating the cupboard. So a lot of the times there's stuff, but it's the emotions. So I want you to really look at emotions, where they come into things as well. So if you can maybe recognize, so Aaron's saying sugar, that sugar's maybe an issue for you, that maybe binge eating, comfort eating, stress eating. Again, yes, there's food that we eat like sugar. Sugar gives you that hit that you want more and more and more. But if it's to do with comfort eating, binge eating, stress eating, there's been an emotion, a stimulus, which has then caused us to reach out to that to try and numb that emotion or numb that feeling. Then again, alcohol, we can use alcohol because it is a depressant to numb that feeling. Again, with myself, the unfortunate thing with that then is the next day, I'm still feeling a bit blue. I'm still feeling a bit tired. I'm still feeling a bit groggy, and it's getting in the way. So if it's alcohol, yes, if it's alcohol, sometimes you need to take then a little bit of time to cut the stimulus. You need to maybe, as should have said, crack open some ice cold non-alcoholic beers. Maybe it's the ritual of just pouring a drink of anything, fizzy, flavored water into the fancy gin glass, and you drink that, and that still gives you the, because you've still done the ritual of doing it, but you're still getting the next day, but you are getting up from the gym, you are still sticking to your meal plan. So you could think about it with that. Sugar, again, it's very hard to go cold turkey. Nobody's saying you don't have to go cold turkey, but maybe it's trying to recognize, you know, how you can cut down on it, how you can track it, and recognizing how you're maybe using it as a crux. If it's been binge eating, emotional eating, you know, we're not doing these big drastic calorie counts here, or calorie cuts. So again, our hope for you is everything's a wee bit more balanced. So hopefully if you're feeling a wee bit more balanced, the emotions will maybe come with that too, and hormone levels and hunger levels and things like that will be a little bit more balanced, that you can work on that. So really, really normal with it. So going the one extreme with alcohol, sometimes we do. Sometimes we need to get the head down and go, do you know what? From this week to this week, I'm not. But we can still create rituals. We can look just at other ways to relax and unwind, which are separate from that. And that can be applied again to sugar and food and things like that. Alcohol, so keep trying to use that example. Food, birthdays, weddings, dinners, eating out, social occasions. So again, food and alcohol and social occasions. There's no that you cannot or don't have this in this program. You can eat whatever you want. You can eat anything, but you don't have to eat everything. That's kind of the motto for this program. Track, plan, think ahead. You know, you want to shred body fat, but you're going out for dinner. Look at the menu in advance and plan what you're going to get. Ask for the sauce on the side. You know, ask for some little adjustments. Decide you're going to have a starter and a main, or a main and a dessert. Maybe you're going to drink alcohol. I love beer. Unfortunately, it's more carb heavy calories. Maybe have more gin and tonic, you know, vodka, something else I was going to say, I can't remember. But you know, there's lighter calorie drinks, and again, track it. So at the moment, guys, track everything, especially when you do not want to track it. Do not track the perfect day. Do not try and have the perfect day. Track everything in MyFitnessPal, in whatever you use to track. Track it with no judgment. Don't just track Monday to Friday and ignore Saturday or Sunday, or ignore Friday, Saturday. Track everything, and it's all going to be learning for it. So I know I've touched on alcohol, but I hope you can kind of, again, compare that to sugar, and compare that to the comfort eating, the emotional eating, everything like that. But on for an hour and a half, I'm not going to keep anybody any longer. Let me wrap up, and I will tell Lee and Vanessa what we've covered, so they can reinforce it, and they can maybe touch on some other subjects. And if you joined late, you'll be able to catch up on the recordings. You might not just get the recordings until the end of this week. So we're either going to build or shred for the first phase or phases. We're going to have a start date. We're going to have an end date. Phase 1 to 5 are 10 weeks each. I want you to put them in your diaries. So start and end of each phase. And we'll keep rolling. No matter what happens in life, we'll keep going. We'll keep ticking off these phases. We take progress pictures at the very start. So your day 1, I want you to have progress pictures. And every 2 weeks after, take the pictures again. Whether you're having a good day, a bad day, you like what you see, you don't like what you see, just take the pictures. They're all data. If we are shredding, then we are going to build some muscle, but our priority is going to be burning fat. We're going to train really, really hard, whether that is in the gym or at home, and we're going to use cardio as a tool to burn fat. More movement, more steps, more calories out. So you're going to use more cardio, as many cardio sessions as you can fit in, and as long as you can make them. And that's up to you. And again, if you need to start small now and gradually take your time, then go for it. Pat made a little comment about drinking water. Good point. I forgot about water, Pat. Water. Again, meet yourself where you are now if you're drinking water, and try and build it up, because you will pee a lot. Anyone who's shredding, hopefully you've worked out your TDEE. If you were in the 5-day body makeover challenge group, the information's in there. I want you to watch the videos. I want you to use that PDF. If you did not come from the 5-day challenge group and you're a bit stuck, give me a shout in the Facebook group, tag me in a post at Laura Hutchinson, and I will help you with it. Anybody who's shredding, you're eating at a little deficit, a little tiny deficit, about 10% off your TDEE, because we have at the moment more body fat than maybe we want to have. We just have stored energy, more stored energy than we want to have. So we want to create a deficit of less energy coming in than what we need, but just a little bit, because we've had maybe a bit too much in the past. So again, we're not going to die. we can survive this little deficit, and we're going to try and create more going out through the training and through the cardio. Anybody who's building, we're going to eat at our TDEE, because our priority is to build muscle. We will burn some body fat because building muscle boosts your metabolism. Muscle takes up more room than body fat, but our priority is building muscle. So we want all the calories, all the food, and we're going to put it to really, really good use. So hopefully you feel a little bit more settled on that. Some of us are getting stuck into sculpt and shred. Some of us will do butt camp first and then head there. That is okay. It's entirely your choice. Things will go wrong. Things will not go to plan. What you've told me in the chat box of what has got in the way in the past will get in your way in this program. But I want you to be aware of it. I want you to be okay with it. I want you to reach out when that happens. And that is what we're here for. Okay, so that's what the coaches are here in the group. So please, please reach out if happy hour is getting in your way, if the poor planning is getting in your way, injuries, absolutely everything. Bring your best self to the groups, bring your worst self to the groups so we can help you. You can check in on the Facebook group as much as you want, as little as you want. It is entirely up to you, but don't hide away, because we can't help you if you're hiding. All right. So we're going to wrap it up there. You have Lee tomorrow. Again, all the details and times will be in your welcome email that you use to find me. You'll have Vanessa on Sunday. And you have all of the coaches and moderators and Kim. We're ready to jump on you and groups for that. Vanessa, will you tag me in a post in the group at Laura Hutchinson, and I'll help you with your TDE there. So if I didn't answer the question that you have today, which you really want answered, tag me in the group and I will help you after that too. So thank you so much, guys. I so look forward to working with you. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you very much. Well done. Bye.